Here's a psychology fact you're not ready for. Some people aren't antisocial. They're just not addicted. While everyone else is competing for a seat at a table that doesn't exist, they've already left the room. This choice, this offline existence, isn't just a lifestyle. It's a complete rewiring of the human experience. It changes how they think, how they date, how they work, and most importantly, how they choose their inner circle. It exposes something deeply uncomfortable about everyone else. It's a mirror that reflects our own dependency. But here's where it gets worse.
But here's the part nobody wants to admit. Some brains are just wired for higher sensitivity. For them, the social comparison trap isn't a theory, it's a physical stress response. Every time they see a peer succeeding, their cortisol spikes. They aren't jealous, they're overwhelmed. They don't want the constant updates because they know their mental health has a price tag. They choose the peace of not knowing over the anxiety of keeping up. Here is where it gets deeper. Not everyone wants to be perceived. We live in an era of the performance. Everyone is a brand, a character, a version of themselves. But the private soul finds this exhausting. They prefer real intimacy over broadcasting. To them, a shared moment is ruined the second it's captured for an audience. If they have to prove they're happy to 1,000 strangers, are they really happy? They find more value in the mystery than in the story. They didn't leave, they escaped. The digital world became a battlefield. Maybe it was a public shaming, a toxic relationship, or a cycle of online drama that nearly broke them. For them, the log out button was an emergency exit. They didn't just leave an app, they left a war zone to recover their identity. If you've ever felt the weight of 100 digital eyes judging your every move, you know exactly why they never came back. This next part explains a lot, and it's the reason why no socials makes people nervous. Some people avoid socials because they avoid accountability. No digital footprint, no history, no explanations. It's much easier to manipulate a narrative when there's no trail to follow. If you don't exist online, you can be whoever you want to be in the moment. You can disappear when things get difficult. You can start over without the baggage of your past mistakes. These are the ghosts, and they are often the most dangerous players in the game. Quick reality check. When you meet someone with no socials, what is your first instinct? Do you respect their discipline, or do you get suspicious? Be honest with yourself, because that reaction says more about your psychology than theirs. We've been conditioned to think that not being seen is the same as having something to hide. We've outsourced our trust to a blue checkmark and a grid of photos. If you can't vet someone through their About section, you feel powerless. Psychology fact: we confuse visibility with value. If someone isn't visible, we assume they don't exist. Social networks have trained you to measure people by signals. The posts, the stories, the last seen timestamp. A person without signals feels unreadable. And to a modern brain, unreadable feels unsafe. We crave the illusion of knowing someone. But here's the irony. You know their profile, but you don't know their soul. You're judging the packaging and ignoring the product. There's a growing divide. On one side, people who are product of the algorithm. On the other, people who are product of their environment. Research shows that long-term offline life increases the deep work capacity. It strengthens the prefrontal cortex. It allows for a longer attention span. When you meet someone truly offline, you'll notice they listen differently. They look you in the eye longer. They don't have the phantom vibration itch. They are more grounded because their reality isn't fragmented by 15 different notifications. They aren't just off the grid, they are back. So, is no socials a green flag or a red flag? Don't guess based on your gut. Look for the patterns. A green flag is a stable routine, clear communication, and consistent availability in the real world. If they are offline but their life is organized and their relationships are deep, that's a high-value human. A red flag is the opposite: inconsistency. They avoid transparency not because they like peace, but because they hate questions. They disappear for days without reason. They get defensive when you ask for basic information. It's not about the apps. It's about the behavior. Here's the truth you've been avoiding. You don't need access to their feed. You need access to their character. Stop trying to scroll through their life and start living in it. If you're dating someone or working with someone who is offline and it makes you nervous, do this. Tell them, I respect your privacy, but I need consistency. Then stop listening to what they claim and watch what they do. Character is revealed in person, not in a bio. Recap: no socials can mean focus, peace, and recovery. Or it can mean calculated avoidance. Don't be afraid of the unreadable person. Be afraid of the person who only exists for the camera. Judge the behavior, never the visibility. And probably that's it. Did you enjoy the video? If so, a thumbs up goes a long way. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss the next one. See you soon.